Of course. So I'd like to move on now to COVID variants. And I'd like to ask, what are they and why should we worry about them?
Mhm. The coronaviruses, the family in general, belongs to the RNA family, which is extremely strange because everybody thinks that the genetic information is carried by DNA in the first place. Viruses are different. There are DNA viruses and there are RNA viruses. And in the RNA viruses, the information is carried in RNA, and the enzyme that the virus uses to multiply this genetic information is called the RNA polymerase. The RNA polymerases are not very faithful enzymes. What do we mean by that? They make mistakes when they multiply the genetic information. And unlike DNA polymerases, they don't have either the ability to correct those mistakes. So those mistakes remain. And if they offer to the virus an advantage to multiply much more easily, to spread more easily, to evade the immune response, or to evade antiviral drugs, the virus will accept them happily because it gives it an advantage. So the variants that have been arising around the world, they are variants which affect this spike protein. And in fact, the Delta variant, the mutations we see there, they stabilize this protein effectively, and it makes this protein much more efficient at infecting cells. Okay, that's why with this Delta variant we see super transmission, because the virus replicates at much higher levels. So somebody who is sick is expelling millions of virus particles into the surrounding area, and therefore the probability of somebody getting infected is very much increased.
I'd like to add something here. We were taught in medical school that once, let's say, a virus becomes more transmittable, it becomes less dangerous for the health of the person who it's infected. How does that work? And does the Delta variant?
Well, the Delta variant, it has become more transmissible, but we have not seen an increase in pathogenicity. However, what we have seen is more symptomatology in the younger people, which we did not see with the previous variants. Not only that, but it seems to infect young children also, and young children were thought to be not very easy transmitters of the virus. But at the moment, we are seeing children actually transmitting. That's why in Cyprus this year, we had to close whole classrooms because we had a big problem with chains of transmission within schools. So I think in order to achieve what you say, we need more time for the virus to adapt to us and for us to adapt to the virus.
Through that more time, do you think the virus might become immune to the vaccines and be able to?
There is that risk also. If there was a chance that that would have happened, we would have seen that by now, I think, particularly in countries where the vaccine coverage is not very high and there is extremely high rates of transmission. By now we would have seen something. I think that the vaccines are quite effective at suppressing virus replication in those that get infected. So the likelihood that we will see such an escape is reduced. Where this may occur is more in the immunosuppressed, where you may get multiple variants, and then if they transmit, then we might see something arising. That's why we've suggested earlier on that the immunosuppressed are the ones that should be vaccinated as quickly as possible and restrict their movements also so that they don't get exposed. But in that way, we are reducing the probability of another variant arising, which would be problematic.
Mm-hmm. I think if you enjoyed that, you can click the link in the description to watch the full podcast or listen to it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and our website. You can also ask questions in the comments below, which will be directed to healthcare professionals in our future weekly episodes. Thank you so much for watching.